On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
You know what I realized, Madison?
What did you realize?
I think we never explain what this show is for new listeners.
Okay.
So many new people...
Well, then why are you here if you don't know what it is?
Hey! No, but so many new people have been tuning in every week.
Yes.
And so why don't we just, if this is your first time listening...
Let's explain.
Let us explain ourselves. Come on, just give us a chance.
Please.
We talk about death. And we read obituaries, and sometimes they're scathing.
And sometimes they're really sweet and will make you cry.
Sometimes they're funny.
Sometimes they're too long and we
do them anyways.
Yeah. Now, we have both experienced death, and we...
No. That makes it sound like we died. Anyways, we're just glad you're here. Glad you're listening. Just get ready to have a time. We're not going to promise a good time. We're not going to promise a bad time. We're just going to say you're going to have a time.
A time. And
it's go time.
Okay, I'm trying to keep up. Oh my gosh.
Sorry, I'm a little jazzed. I've had 3 Diet Cokes and I'm running on 6 Excedrin today, baby. I'm just going for it.
Did you wear your migraine hat?
Not today. It's somewhere. Honestly, I haven't had it since I moved. It's somewhere in storage. We gotta find that sucker because that is a lifesaver.
It is. It's amazing.
I have this migraine cap. I know we've talked about it on here before, but just search migraine hat online and it'll come up. Basically, the one I have is purple, so get that one. And it's just this cap that has a ton of little ice packs. Mm-hmm. All around it.
Even on a hot day?
Oh, baby.
Just walk around with that on your head. You won't be hot at all.
Oh, and has it been hot?
It has been gross.
No, it's been sunny and beautiful.
No, I know.
I function so much better, I've learned, as just a human, is if I wake up and it is sunny and like nice out, I'm hop out of bed, double out of bed, and go to the kitchen, but I can do that. If I wake up and it's rainy or cold, I'm tired and I'm in a depression commercial where I'm looking out the window like, what's going on?
It has been, I forget every year, and I know that it might be like sad, like seasonal depression or whatever, but like I am so happy that it stays light until like 7 or 8. I feel like, oh my God, I have the whole day. It's just weird.
Totally. Well, and when you wake up at...
So I talked to my psychiatrist about that today. I was like, I have got to get my sleeping under control because I have great sleep. I don't wake up. Once I fall asleep, I am asleep.
She is out.
I am out like just snoozing away, sawing logs, but I don't go to bed till 4 a.m. And I wake up at like 11:30 and I'm like, I can't keep doing this. So I'm going to try melatonin and try to get on a good schedule.
Please.
Yeah.
Listen, we love it. I just want you to be on the same time zone as me sometimes.
I know, I'm like, maybe I need to move somewhere that like... where I would be an early bird.
No, I love it. I mean, to be honest, with your job and life, you don't really need to, but I understand because I used to be a sleep-in person. My last job forced me to wake up early because our team was on the East Coast, and that's the only reason that I've ever been able to wake up early. And now if I don't wake up early enough, I get a migraine. That's the only reason I'm ever out of bed. When I am. But this time change has actually been fucking me up.
I know.
I slept in on I think it was Sunday until like 9:30.
Yeah.
And I was like, what?
That's when I went to bed. But
But
speaking of, I Speaking of, there it is again. I saw you Saturday. You came over. We watched that Heaven's Gate documentary.
I was telling the listeners on Cult Leader about it. I was like, listen, it's interesting. There was some never before seen interviews and stuff like that. But there's a Heaven's Gate documentary, which I don't know if I've shown you. It's on HBO.
Okay.
If you've seen it, you've seen what you need to see.
Got it.
I would describe this one as like something to have on in the background. Would you agree?
I just wouldn't even put it on.
Oh my God.
I was bored.
The critics are in. Hi, I'm Roger, and this is Ebert.
Yeah, I was bored.
Do you know who we are? We are, the Muppets.
The two that are in the balcony?
Yeah, the old men who are just like, boo.
Well, we talked about I'm Miss Piggy or Kermit.
Yeah.
Ow!
Why are there so many songs about rainbows?
God, can we talk about that woman that cut her boyfriend's head off?
Which one?
It'll probably be old news by the time this comes out, but that woman, she and her boyfriend were doing meth. I was actually had like a family dinner. We were all talking about it.
Oh, yes.
They were like, why did you do this? She's like, that's a good question. Like, she doesn't remember it.
Chilling.
His head was in a bucket.
Speaking of women cutting things off, Cult Leader on Monday, so it'll be, I don't know, probably 2 episodes ago by the time this goes out, I did an episode called Off With Your Head. No, not that one. And it was about 3 different stories of women cutting off their lovers' penises. So I started with Lorena Bobbitt. And then these 2 other stories, Madison. There was one, and she cut it off with a straight razor. And you would have loved her.
That's what this woman cut the guy's head off with a butter knife.
Oh, how?
Who knows?
A butter knife?
That's what I heard.
Oh my God. This was a straight razor. And then there was another story where this woman chopped his whole penis and scrotum off and took him with her and tried to have sex with his detached penis later on in a hotel room.
It makes me want to throw up.
I know. There was like a quote from her, like, I tried to put it in my mouth and then I tried to insert it in me and it wouldn't work. And I tried to insert it in me again and I couldn't get it to work. It's like, obviously it's not going to work. You can't get a death erection if the erection ain't on the body.
Oh my God.
Isn't that horrifying?
She just admitted it. Like,
you should listen to it. And I never tell my friends to listen to me.
No, sometimes I do listen. Sometimes your voice will come on in the car. Like my Bluetooth will hook up. Be like, oh my God, he's always with me.
It's a good one. There's some wild stories in there, but
gosh, I'm gonna go listen.
Crazy. I was going through it yesterday. Which I talked to you. I think I was just one of those days.
Yeah.
I was driving around with Hot Dog. Like, I took Hot Dog on a drive. I was like, come on, girl, let's...
That's when you know you're going through it, when you go on a drive.
A drive is definitely a telltale sign.
Oh, baby.
I did start seeing a new therapist recently who I told you I fucking love her.
I saw your tweet. She has great bangs.
Such good bangs, which is always a telltale sign. Like, if your therapist has good bangs...
Bangs are iffy. Bangs can be banging, or they can be like, what are you going through?
Yeah. And no, hers are like a purposeful, just nice and tight. We like it. Anyway, she's great. But yeah, so I was going through it. Hot Dog, I think, was going through it too a little bit. So we went on a drive last night. And also, when you're like just feeling off, you're like not hungry at all. Nothing sounds good. I couldn't think of anything. So when I pulled into my driveway, I DoorDashed Cheesecake Factory.
That's how I know you're going through it too.
And I ordered like every comfort item off of it that I could think of. But tell me why the DoorDash person wrote, they wrote, hey, Spacer, I'm on the way.
Yeah. I love that so much.
Spacer.
You are Spacer.
Spacer Henry, baby. Don't forget it.
That sounds like a cool bad boy.
I was telling Ash from Morbid. She responded to something and I was like, maybe it'll be my drag name if I ever did drag. Spacer. Oh my God, wait, did you see the thing that I put on my story yesterday?
No.
It is fucking insane. The headline is Woman's UTI was actually glass tumbler.
I did see that.
Lodged in bladder for 4 years.
That's not real.
It is real.
It's real?
Yes. So listen, I'm just going to read the article.
Okay.
A woman who doctors thought had a UTI actually had a glass tumbler stuck in her bladder for 4 years. The 45-year-old had come to the hospital complaining of typical lower UTI symptoms, such as leaking. But doctors were left stunned when scans revealed there was glass inside her bladder. It was encased by an 8-centimeter, 3-inch wide bladder stone, which are normally so small they're hard to see with the naked eye. The woman revealed she had used the drinking glass as a sex toy a number of years before. Evidently, she had inserted it into her urethra, the hole from which...
Wait, no.
Yes, from which females urinate rather than the vagina.
There is absolutely...
No, you'd be surprised, because men will do it. I think it's called sounding.
I know men do it, but I don't even know where my urethra is located.
Girly, I don't even know if you know where your vagina is.
I can't see it.
Her case was published in a medical journal, including the astonishing scan and image of the glass and the stone surrounding it. So that was up her urethra.
Are you fucking kidding me?
While the medical report does not mention it, the woman may have been practicing what's known as urethral sounding.
Is it supposed to feel good?
I mean, I can't picture anything going in my pee hole sounding fantastic. Definitely not. The risky activity involves inserting a glass or object into the urethra to heighten sexual pleasure and arousal. Doctors have had reports...
Oh my God, I just pictured so graphic, like a woman with... It's just a big bulge and she's fucking?
I mean, it was her urethra, so it wouldn't be the hole that you're fucking. It's the hole
I thought there was only one down there. No.
No, there's 6.
Oh. There's 6?
Yeah. Doctors have had reports of people deliberately placing things there, either due to mental health problems or for pleasure, but it is not recommended. The report noted the motivations most frequently associated with the presence of foreign bodies within the bladder are of a sexual or erotic nature. Various objects have been inserted into the bladder, and many patients fail to remove them themselves and are very embarrassed to seek medical advice. They cracked open the stone, the bladder stone, that was surrounding it, and it exposed the still intact glass, which had been in her body for years. 2 days later, the woman had recovered and was well enough to go home. The best treatment remains preventative by balancing the underlying idiopathogenic disorder and by a good sex education. How about just telling people not to shove objects down the urethra? My God.
Oh my God. I'm sitting here literally in pain.
People put footballs. People put safety cones. Moving on. I have some Am I the Assholes for us.
Please, let's go to the other hole. Moving on.
New listeners, are you still with us? Do you like what you've heard so far?
They've already turned it off.
Jesus Christ.
I can't listen to this.
Per usual, I won't tell you what the people voted until the end. It says, would I be the asshole for honoring my late husband's wish of having his ashes scattered in a Chuck E. Cheese parking lot? I know it sounds weird, but my 31-year-old female husband, 33-year-old male, passed away a while back in a completely unexpected manner, and it absolutely destroyed me. We often joked about where we would like our ashes to be scattered, which is kind of morbid, I know, but always coming up with the most ridiculous scenarios possible. One time he said his final resting place should be in a Chuck E. Cheese parking lot, and we thought that was the funniest thing we'd ever heard. We were really drunk, and it became a constant internal joke between us and a few of our friends. After he passed away, he was cremated. I hadn't given much thought to where I would actually scatter his ashes because everything was too fresh and I needed some time to heal before I said my final goodbye. This is when his family enters the picture. I never had a lot of contact with them as my husband was estranged from them ever since I met him. I won't write details about their relationship out of respect, but I'll say it includes a lot of childhood trauma and abuse. All of that came mostly from his mom. The most I ever saw of his family was after he died, but it still wasn't a lot. When the subject became where his ashes would get scattered, however, his mom became a constant presence in my life. Right after the final ceremony, she kept calling to talk about his ashes and ask what would happen to them, where they would get scattered, if there was going to be an event, and all other sorts of questions. At the time, I had no answer, so I said I still hadn't made up my mind. After a few more days of calls that got increasingly accusatory and personal, she stated that as his mother, it was her right to perhaps take the urn to her house instead. I told her that as his wife, I was within my rights too. She then accused me of being negligent and not caring enough about the issue. I took enormous offense to that. That's when the Chuck E. Cheese thing came to mind. It would honestly be the perfect place to scatter him. My husband would find it absolutely hilarious, and all of our friends agreed when I told them. That's just the type of person he was. I decided to call his mom and inform her of my decision, as she did have the right to know. I knew she wouldn't understand. She thought I was pulling a prank on her. I told her I was dead serious, and she was completely shocked, and I tried explaining, but she wouldn't hear it. She said it was no place for her son and that I was a stupid whore who had only been with him because of his money, even though he wasn't even close to being rich. I understand that this is a grieving mother and I can't imagine how much it hurts to lose a son. However, I have listened to a lot of stories from him where I understood how negatively she impacted his life, so I don't want her to have control over this one last thing. Am I the asshole?
No. Spread them at Chuck E. Cheese.
People voted her the asshole.
Why?
I think because of just like the nature of it all, and because it's his mom, but I'm like, it sounds like he was like no contact with the mom.
Yeah. Also, can't you divide the ashes up?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, you can.
You know?
I think it's just like, I'm like, maybe I see it like our perspective because we're so open about death and we like laugh about things. And like, if we had a big joke about me spreading my ashes somewhere, I would want you to do it.
Well, I feel like you can divide the ashes up. And
yeah.
like you do what you want with it. And I get it. It's such a sensitive thing. I don't know. I don't want to say they're just ashes, but like.
Come on. Also, it's funny because I feel like my family notoriously keeps ashes. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many urns.
Just in the living room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you've been over.
Yeah, and I think you showed me. You're like, there's so-and-so.
I'm like, yeah, let me introduce you to my family.
Yeah.
Here they are. Everyone's in an urn. Oh, God. It's true, though. I mean, we will eventually spread them, but it's also deciding, like when and where. Like, what's the rush? I feel like it would be so hard to deal with, like, a controlling mother-in-law or something.
Oh, yeah. That's why I think you divide them.
I saw one. I didn't choose this one. Maybe we'll do it in the future, but it was like, am I the asshole for giving my aunt fake ashes?
Well, literally, I was thinking that the whole time. I'm like, open up the vacuum cleaner.
They have a specific look, though.
Oh.
It's
I'm sure you could buy some fake.
Like kitty litter or something. It's different. It's a little different than what you would picture, I feel like. Because
Really?
I always pictured it as like, almost like fireplace ash, like very dusty.
Yeah.
But it's different.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess we're the
Anyway.
assholes, but we're on your side.
Yeah,
Go
we're on your
spread
side.
them.
Take them to Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
And this one says, am I the asshole for revealing my pregnancy at a family funeral? My 29-year-old female husband, 32-year-old male's brother tragically passed away 2 weeks ago of a very short-lived illness. While he was still ill in May, my husband and I discovered I was around 6 weeks pregnant. We've suffered a miscarriage previously, so we chose not to say anything as we felt the family's focus should be on his brother and sister-in-law, and we weren't convinced the pregnancy would be viable. Well, we then made it to 12.5 weeks and went for a scan and, under normal circumstances, would have told the family. However, his brother's health had taken a serious turn for the worse and we did not think it was the right time and agreed to wait as long as we can before revealing anything so as not to cause additional pain or stress, which is considerate,
Mm-hmm.
Even now at 15 weeks, I still only look slightly bloated, so we could have kept it hidden a while longer, I imagine. His brother sadly passed away only 5 days after our scan. Because of the current situation with the world, it was only a small funeral with a wake of around 25 close family members at my mother-in-law's home. At the wake, everyone was having a drink and I was carefully only having Diet Coke to look like it was a vodka Coke. My husband was always the one to replenish my drinks. Then, my mother-in-law brought out a few bottles of my brother-in-law's favorite wine and poured everyone a glass. I took a glass as not to raise suspicion and just pretended to sip it. My sister-in-law noticed my wine wasn't going down, then spotted my husband and I swapping glasses, and fairly loudly asked why I wouldn't drink her husband's favorite wine in his honor. I panicked and said I was drinking it, just slowly to savor it. Everyone's attention was then on us, and she started shaking her head saying, I can't believe you would do this. My mother-in-law hurried over and took my husband and I out to the garden and asked if we were pregnant. We admitted we were, and as we tried to explain, she cut us off and simply said I had to leave. My husband said he would leave with me if she made me go, and she just sighed and said, leave then, and went back inside. So we left, and in the past week, we have made several attempts to contact his parents and family and have received barely any response. My husband now thinks we should have just lied and said we weren't pregnant, but I'm not sure that would have even worked. Am I the asshole for revealing the pregnancy instead of lying?
Oh my God. Okay, when you were first starting this, I was like, she's the asshole. Like I pictured in my head before you finished, like, oh, she's gonna plan to tell everybody because she thinks it's a good time.
Or like she took the opportunity because everyone was gonna be there.
Totally. And I was already thinking that, but then by the end of the story, I'm like, oh my God, his family's the asshole. Like,
right? And they tried to be discreet about it, which is super respectful.
Yeah.
It's also one thing if the sister-in-law was going through it, right? She just lost her husband, 30-something years old.
Well, why make them leave?
The mother-in-law, too, sounds like a bitch, though. I'm like, she's the one who told them to leave after she found out they were pregnant. And I'm like, you're just all...
Wow. I mean, we always say it. Grief makes you do fucking weird things, and hopefully... it's resolved by now, but like, what a fucked up moment.
To make them leave when they weren't even trying to announce it.
Yeah.
That's a situation where I'd be like, cool, you're actually not going to be part of this baby's life.
I mean, it's hard though, because we say it like you don't know. Everybody grieves differently.
It's true.
Oh, God, that's a shitty situation.
Yes.
Wow. Not being in the story, just being a listener. I'm like thinking in my head, I'm like, I would be much more graceful. I would be like, okay, congratulations. I'm so happy, but let's not talk about it for the rest of the night or whatever.
Sure.
But then who knows? Maybe I would, I don't know.
What if it was like, I feel like my family or some people would be like, oh my God, it's like
him.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
It's like, it's him. Like,
yeah.
Oh my God. But I mean, it's an emotional thing and everyone's emotional and I get it, but I'm also like, I also don't think grieving gives you a pass to be shitty to someone who doesn't deserve it. You can definitely have moments. But
yeah, that's fucked up. It's fucked up to put them in that situation like they did something wrong.
No, for sure. Because if she would have walked in and been like, while we're all here, I just wanted to let you know that I'm
like,
pregnant.
You couldn't have waited a week. Like,
totally.
Yeah. God.
I know. Well, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Now that we've judged.
Yes.
And when we come back, we will hear your side bitch. We'll be right back. And we're back, Madison. What you got in your sidecar this week?
Oh, baby. I have an obituary for a man that actually just passed away, so we're going to keep his full name out of this. The first line I read, I went old school this week, by the way. We get stuff sent to us, so we're like Googling, looking it through newspapers, like the newspaper archives and stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to go to Legacy and just scroll.
Oh, she went on a hunt.
I went on a hunt and I found a good one. So, again, we're not going to say full names, but this was Michael, and it says this. Michael, our very favorite cowboy, passed away on Monday, March 14th, 2022. To be honest, Mike would hate having an obituary. He'd hate the whole thing. He'd hate the fuss. So while it's important you know he was born on May 21st, 1962, it's more important to know what life meant to him. To Mike, the best place in the world was a wide open pasture, one he could fill with corn, beans, horses, cows, hay. At any time, he was trying to convince you to buy a boat so he could improve his fishing. The only way you could get him to go inside and stay inside was to put on Gunsmoke or Lonesome Dave. Well, you could probably convince him to meet you for a drink, too, so long as there was a jukebox playing George Strait in the corner. As far as he was concerned, steak and potatoes was the only dish needed to sustain a happy, healthy life. Though no man is perfect, and Mike certainly did not claim to be, he was perfect in the eyes of many. He made friends everywhere he went because he could always make connections with a seemingly random stranger. He'd open the door for you. After supper, he'd tell you he was going to the bathroom, but really he was sneaking away to pay the bill. If shit went wrong, he was the guy to call. Somehow he could lift anything, be everything. And while his younger years were full of hell-raising, like the time he kissed a meteorologist on the mouth after he correctly predicted a much-needed rain, he started to slow down in recent years. He and his wife Lisa married on July 30th, 2016, on their acreage. He loved movie nights with her and their vacations west. He adored his kids, talking to them nearly every day. And then when he was blessed with grandbabies, he said, "This is the happiest moment of my life." He and Lisa couldn't get enough time with their grandchildren. We are incredibly devastated. His ornery soul was called to leave this earth. It will take us time to figure out how to live without him. But until we do, we'll keep playing Hank, Waylon, and Willie for our favorite cowboy.
Aww.
And then it goes on to say who he is survived by. Okay, that's it. But I thought this was funny at the end of it. It says, the family humbly requests attendees to wear their best Wranglers, bib overalls, cowboy hats, and cowboy boots.
Now that's a celebration of life that I would like to go to.
Oh, and then it goes on and, says the funeral home, and it says, this is where the cowboy rides away.
Aww.
Oh,
love that.
Love it.
Love
I know.
a cowboy.
Love a cowboy.
That's a good one.
It was a good one.
A nice, wholesome obituary.
But, still funny.
Telling of who he was.
I love it. Our cowboy.
Love it.
Love it. So, should we take a little spin in a coffin?
Hey, I'm already spinning. The room is spinning. What's going on? Today, we are going to be talking about senicide, which is a topic that I had never really looked into before, and I found some really crazy stories of its presence amongst several different cultures. By definition, senicide is the killing of the elderly or their abandonment to death.
What? It sounded like a poison.
I know. Well, I thought of suicide, honestly.
Oh,
Suicide, senicide. Well, I guess it's like any side, like homicide, familicide, parricide.
Yeah.
So many sides. More sides than a Yahtzee dice, baby. Essentially, senicide has been practiced throughout history, with some believing that it's a form of assisted death.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it's really fucked up.
Well, here we go.
Here we go. We will start with the practice of Thaliakuthal, which hails from the southern Indian state of Tamil Nadu, where the practice is, quote, said to occur dozens or perhaps hundreds of times a year. So this is the story I actually first heard about Thaliakuthal, and that's what brought me to senicide, because I heard about this. It's wild. And I know killing equals bad, but again, I think they're trying to look at it through the lens of something like death with dignity. Usually when people are too old to be able to care for themselves. One supporter said, at least we are offering our parents a peaceful death by performing these acts. And I'm like...
By just exterminating
by killing them? According to one article from a website called The Week based in India, quote, in Thaliakuthal, the body is massaged with 100 milliliters each of coconut, castor, and sesame oils, usually at dawn. After this, the person is given a cold bath and put to bed. The body temperature soon dips, often to a lethal extent, and after 15 minutes, the person is made to drink a few glasses of tender coconut water and a glass of milk. This causes renal failure. In a day or two, the person catches a fever and dies.
What?
Till a few years ago, if the oil and coconut water failed, the person would be given a glass of mud mixed with water or a piece of maruku, which is a savory that would be forced down the throat where it would block the food pipe and the elderly would have to fight for oxygen.
Okay, just wait a second. So this is a practice done...
To the elderly.
To the elderly.
Uh-huh.
I'm not trying to be judgmental.
Sure.
But they're trying to liken this as...
Like, we're helping you.
Like a death with dignity.
Uh-huh.
They can't try to pull one over on us when we know how beautiful death with dignity can be.
Not like this, though.
But you're trying to shove something down grandma's windpipe?
Throat to block it from breathing.
Whatever happened to just passing peacefully in bed?
Or put a fucking pillow over their face, my God.
Oh my God.
In more recent years, it says they have buried this gruesome tradition. It has now taken on a silent form. Unlike earlier, when it was socially acceptable, relatives are no longer informed or invited when this occurs.
Oh my God, I'm sorry I keep having to stop you. I just need you to break it down. Oh my God, I sound like an idiot, but this was a practice done and it was socially acceptable where it would be a big thing. And would the elderly person really know?
It would be like a family coming in and It'd be like if your mom called you and your siblings to come over and your grandma was elderly and they were like, we're gonna, end this for her. And then your mom shoves something down her throat or gives her a sesame bath and gives her milk and coconut oil to drink or coconut water, which would apparently cause renal failure. Yeah, it's
I drink coconut water all the time.
very bizarre.
Oh my God.
Now they use, I guess, pesticides, sleeping pills, and lethal injections as part of this practice. Instead, the local quacks sometimes prescribe Valium tablets. If these fail, the villagers call in the quack to inject a combination of poisons and a fatal dose of drugs, and death comes within minutes. Which that sounds more like a little more similar to Death with Dignity now.
But is the elderly person on board or just not of sound mind?
They are. Or they're out of their mind. Or their mind just is not working the same anymore.
I don't like this.
Japan has its own custom known as yubasut, where I guess elderly relatives would be carried to a mountain or somewhere that was just in the absolute middle of nowhere, and then they would be left there to die. They would just leave them there to starve to death.
Okay.
I'm like, what? There was actually a novel written about this, written in 1956 by Shishiro Fukuzawa called The Ballad of Noriyama. And it talked about this, but yeah, I guess they would literally just drive them out to the middle of nowhere, like on a mountainside or something, and be like, all right.
Would they have, I guess maybe they'd have like a spiritual experience.
Something. An article from straightdope.com says that senicide was common among the Inuit in northern Alaska and Greenland. Where it was practiced, senicide was rare except during famines. As long as there was enough food to go around, everyone got their share, including the relatively unproductive. Given that the usual diet consisted of fairly dependable catches of caribou, fish, and sea mammals, many years could pass between episodes of scarcity. Considering the dangers of hunting, the old and infirm, who weren't expected to hunt, could outlive a hunter in his prime. On the other hand, when food did run short, the old and the sick were looked upon as drains on the community's resources. So sometimes they were killed by being either thrown into the sea, buried alive, locked out in the cold, or starved to death.
Oh.
Far more commonly, they were simply abandoned to die. The victim might be taken out to the wilderness and left there, or the whole village might pick up and move away while the old person slept.
What? It's like, on that movie It Takes Two, when they pull the mattress out to the lake and she wakes up and she's like, what the fuck?
Oh, the Parent Trap.
Parent Trap.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just speechless.
Because it's insane. If the villagers were unexpectedly restored to prosperity, they might go back to rescue those left behind. An abandoned person would also be welcomed back as a full member of the community if he or she could manage to make their way back to the village on their own, but usually they couldn't.
It's sick. It's fucked up.
Here's the thing. It's fucking crazy to picture.
To be fair, it seems like survival.
In Sardinia's past, they would throw sick elders off of certain cliffs, or sometimes the senicide would be done by a select group of women that were called acapadoras, aka the Terminator or the Ender. Add that to your fucking executioner list. They would bless them and then proceed to either suffocate them or kill them with blunt force trauma by hitting them in the back of the head with a wooden mallet.
Oh my God. Wasn't this in Midsommar?
Uh-huh.
They jumped off a cliff or something?
Uh-huh. A lot of these practices, so there's actually not a ton of information out there about senicide. There's a few case studies and things out there, but there's really not that much information online, which I found so interesting. But a lot of these practices are old, and some of them have become more like folklore. But just the idea of dropping off this elderly person at a mountain and being like, all right, kids, wave goodbye, or getting up in the middle of the night and moving your entire town, and they wake up just like, huh? But they're allowed to come back if they can find their way to you.
It's like a sick game.
In my head, because I do this with pretty much everything in my life, which is just probably intrusive thoughts, But I make up scenarios in my head of all the time. Like, okay, what if I had to choose between leaving like an old relative or hot dog?
Oh,
and then I would probably leave an older person. I don't think I could leave hot dog anywhere.
Oh my God, no.
People do that with their dogs all the time, abandon their dogs.
Fucked up.
Which is so crazy to me.
It's so fucked up. I don't care what you say. It is fucked up.
Like, how do you just leave a dog and drive away?
You have
Horrible.
to have something wrong with you, yeah.
Something sick.
Yep.
We're like, yeah, you can leave the grandparent, but it's
not my 5-pound chihuahua.
No, not the poodle.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy. I was expecting, to find a lot more when I was researching, and I initially was going to change my topic because I was like, okay, it's kind of confusing. These are the only stories that I found really talking about it.
No, it's so interesting.
There's nothing out there really about it, though. And I was like, why has nobody talked about this? Because most of our topics, I feel like, that we talk about, you find all these articles or different resources, or you go to Donkey Junk or random.com.
Seriously.
And you're finding all this information, but nobody talks about seniocide.
That's fucked.
The only semi-recent thing I found on it, aside from literally 3 case studies in the Wikipedia page, was a comparison to how COVID-19 is technically seniocide done by the government in certain areas that refuse to put any sort of prohibitions when it came to like senior citizen homes, like ones that didn't do anything to enforce mask mandates or anything for senior citizen homes. They're like, okay, well, the governors of those areas were technically committing seniocide because they were just allowing them basically to get sick and weren't doing anything about it.
Wow. Mass seniocide.
Yeah. So that's what had me spinning in my coffin this week is seniocide.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to think about this. Like, wow.
I know.
Mind blown.
Mind blown. We're going to take a quick break and hear a word from one of our sponsors, and then we'll be right back.
And we're back.
What you got you spinning in your coffin this week?
Alrighty. I'm going to tell you, but I want to start us off today with a little quote from an essay written by A.V. Seaton called Guided by the Dark, From Thanatopsis to Thanatourism. Death is the one heritage that everyone shares, and it has been an element of tourism longer than any other form of heritage. So, we're talking about thanatourism today.
Oh, yeah, baby. I got my fanny pack ready to go. Take me on a thanator, babe.
I've never heard of this word before, but I was researching.
Well, what is thanatophobia or whatever, or thanophobia? Remember we did it on the phobias episode.
Well, that's fear of death. Thanatos is like ancient Greek for death.
Oh, yeah. I think it was thanatophobia, and it was like the fear of dying or the fear of death or something.
Thanatourism is basically tourism or visits to places that are associated with things like tragedies, deaths, and disasters. It is also commonly known as dark tourism. So A.V. Seaton is an author and professor of tourism behavior at the University of Luton, UK. He was the first to coin the term thanatourism. In his essay that I quoted earlier, he broke down the history of thanatourism and the 5 different degrees of it. It's important to note that scholars Malcolm Foley and John Lennon coined the term dark tourism, and it's conflicting because some things I read, people compare them and they're like, they're the same thing. And other things I read are like, no, they're different. Dark tourism is a modern construct.
What are they gatekeeping?
Yeah, I don't know, people. And I downloaded his essay and I read the whole thing. It was like a 10-page read, but it was very interesting. And in it, he says, quote, "From the Middle Ages to well into the 19th century, thanatopsis was not just aided, but encouraged and induced by the multiplicity of symbolic representations and material objects which kept death at the forefront of individual awareness. The rich had private artifacts, death heads, hourglasses, death masks, and effigies which constantly reminded them of the hour of their passing to come." Then it mentions John Donne actually slept with the coffin in his room. I gotta research him. Thanatopsis was promoted to the poor by the church, which stage-managed representations of death as a subject of public art and popular culture in signifying practices which included church paintings and carvings, monuments, tableaux, morality plays, displays, and of course, sermons. which we've kind of talked about that, especially when we talk about the Edwardian era or the Victorian era. Like, death was like at the forefront of everything, and it wasn't like
just another Tuesday.
Huge deal. It then goes on to say one of the most widespread thanatoptic displays in European culture in the late Middle Ages was the Dance of Death. This was a symbolic depiction of death as a terrifying, partly flesh skeleton carrying off people from all walks of life. So his paper breaks down the different types of thanatorism, and it's really interesting. So the first one, and I'm going to quote all of this from his essay. Number 1, travel to witness public enactments of death. This is the strongest and, in modern Western societies, the most morally prescribed form of thanatorism. So it's not super common anymore, but like public executions, people would travel to see those.
Okay.
That was a form of thanatorism. Number 2, travel to see the sites of mass or individual deaths after they have occurred. This is the most common form of thanatorism, which encompasses a great amount of tourism behavior. It may be travel to mass death sites like the Colosseum in Rome or to sites of individual deaths. Number 3, travel to internment sites of and memorials to the dead. This kind of thanatorism includes visits to graveyards, catacombs, crypts, war memorials. 4, travel to view the material evidence or symbolic representations of death in locations unconnected with their occurrence. This kind of thanatorism is directed towards synthetic sites at which evidence of the dead have been assembled. It includes museums where weapons of death, the clothing of murder victims, and other artifacts are put on display. And then 5, travel for reenactments or simulation of death. This form was, until the 20th century, largely confined to religious presentations. But then I was researching too, and it like Civil War reenactments, like stuff like that is a form of thanatorism.
Like the 9/11 memorial in New York.
Yeah, like I'm like, oh my God, we're all thanatorists.
I was thinking as you were going through the list, I was like, oh, I've been to every single one of these things.
Yeah.
Or I was thinking like the Museum of Death even.
Totally. They have artifacts.
We were just saying we need to, knowing what we know now, we want to go back and kind of see it.
Yeah. So I was like reading through this and I was like, but why? Like, why are we all so drawn to this kind of stuff? And I don't just mean like interested in the concept of death because, hello, like we're so interested in it and explaining it and like researching it. But why do we all travel to see these like fucked up things? And an article on tourismmaster.com explained it, saying, quote, traditionally, this form of tourism has been studied on the premise that visitors of dark sites, also known as dark tourists, are fascinated with the concept of death. Modern society's fascination with death has indeed spurred the phenomenon of dark tourism. And then it goes on to break down why we possibly are so interested, saying, quote, the range of motivations for visiting dark sites and thanatourism in general is considerable. Motivations vary on the basis of personal heritage, an urge for validation, educational reasons, reflection of death, and in completely different cases, even entertainment or general interest. So I say all this and give you guys like a background on thanatourism because I have been holding on, and you know I've been like wanting to read this article about the Paris morgue for so long.
Yes.
And I was like, what better way than to bring it up here? So the Paris morgue. In a recent episode, I think it was the episode where I talked about being buried alive, we talked about waiting mortuaries, which was basically a place used to hold a body and specifically wait and confirm that someone was dead because people were being buried alive so much. The Paris morgue was different. It was a huge, beautiful morgue. It was on one of the islands in Seine, Paris. It used to sit right behind the Notre Dame.
Is that where you used to live when you were up in the tower?
Yeah, when I had that problem with my back. Dumbass. Okay, so this morgue was rebuilt in 1864, and it was rebuilt for a very intentional reason. It was literally designed to attract visitors. Now, I don't know if they meant for it to become like an actual tourist attraction, But they hoped for it to be a place that people wanted to come because it made identifying bodies a lot easier.
Okay.
It became one of Paris's most popular tourist attractions. Even tourism guidebooks mentioned it. So this place was open 7 days a week from dawn until 6 p.m. It was free. And they would get, on like big days, 40,000 people visiting a day.
Oh my God.
And this was because they would display all of the bodies in the windows, on marble slabs. Like you could walk up and see these people.
Imagine.
And people would go for entertainment. It was crazy. Street vendors would set up outside selling cookies, cakes, and treats. They explained it as almost like a fair. Like people would travel all over just to come and see these dead bodies. It finally closed in 1907 because of moral reasons. The public was starting to be like,
"Come on, show us the bodies."
Yeah. And now today it's a public garden. But I wanted to talk about the internal design, and Atlas Obscura is always great. They gave a really great description of it. It says, quote, "Even the morgue's internal design was inviting. Inside the exhibition room, which held as many as 50 visitors at a time, 2 rows of corpses lay on rock slabs behind glass windows. Bookending the windows were a pair of green curtains that commentators in the era likened to those in a retail setting. Picture a large department store window when the merchandise has been removed on a Saturday night. Morgue workers draped the corpses' clothing on pegs next to the bodies. In the morgue's earlier years, cold water dripped onto the bodies from a tap in the ceiling to slow down decomposition. By 1882, that was swapped out for an extensive refrigerator system. The morgue's well-attended displays earned frequent comparisons to the theater. French novelist Émile Zola, for instance, called it a show that was affordable to all. On rare occasions, when there were no bodies on display, angry crowds complained that death allowed itself an intermission that day without thinking of their good pleasure. Yet when commentators called the morgue a theater, they weren't simply referring to the sight of the bodies. Visitors might find themselves with front row seats to dramatic criminal investigations, too. Police often brought suspected murderers to the morgue to confront their victims, believing that the shock of seeing what they had done would trigger a confession. These confrontations were common enough that in 1988, the Paris morgue installed electric lights, with the idea of increasing the effect produced upon murderers upon being confronted with their victims. Under the effect of the lights, the confrontations are expected to be much more effective. This tactic actually worked. Paris police records list several instances of suspects who, after initially refusing to cooperate, confessed their crimes upon visiting the morgue.
That's crazy.
Fucking crazy, but I have to read one more thing to you just so you can just get, like, we'll post pictures, but like just a descriptive ass image. The Harvard Crimson, Mark Cummings, wrote a whole article on this, and I'm going to pull a little quote from it. Quote, "Brutal, gashed, and swollen faces, wide gaping mouths which open for the last time to utter the death shriek, and are now fixed forever in rigid agony, jagged, discolored teeth, sunken cheeks, knitted brows, dead, sodden eyes, awful contortions, ghastly smiles, hideous leers, faces of men and faces of women, faces of the young and faces of the old, faces which reek with the slime of years of vice and misery and despair, faces which Dante, groping among the damned, might have dragged from hideous steaming depths of Lethean mud and flung forth to the front of the unwilling eye of the day. Faces mutilated into every shape into which the human countenance can be bruised or flattened or slashed or puffed or putrefied. Such is the sight which greets the visitor upon his entrance to the Paris morgue."
Wow. God, what an image.
Okay, now listen to this. He says, quote, "Some of the corpses had been in the water a day, some a week, some nobody knew how long. Some were clothed, some were naked, some lacked an arm or leg or head. Some lacked everything except a single leg or arm, which came up in the net of some fishermen with a few rags of cloth clinging to it.
Oh my God.
So this fucking place, could you imagine a place like this now? Like if we're like, oh, it's Friday night, we're going to go to the morgue.
We're going to get a funnel cake.
We're going to walk around. We're going to see all these real human dead bodies laying there, and they're all unidentified.
Horrible.
I just thought that was
But we would totally have gone.
Of course we would have gone, but it's sick. We're sick.
Oh, we're just sick in the head.
No, but I think we're all Thanatorists.
Totally.
Whether it's for educational reasons or for validation or for whatever, we all have a little bit in us.
We all have a little bit in us.
And that's all.
And that's the truth. We'll be right back, and then when we get back, we'll hit you with some obituaries and some real dumbasses. We'll be right back. And we're back. All right, my obituary this week has been sent to us 500 million times this week, and it is the obituary for Yvonne L. Miles.
Ah.
And I love it. Well, it finally happened. I died at 68 years of age. I stopped harassing people on March 9th, 2022.
I love it.
So recent, but hers was just so good and it's been making the rounds. So I'm like, I'm using full names. I was a retired paralegal and had been in the legal field for over 40 years and loved every minute of it, especially being the official Dubois Circuit Court reporter in Jasper, Indiana. Murder trials were fascinating to me, but the best civil case was the chicken blowout trial. As most of you know, I was an avid IU basketball fan. I also cheered for any team that played and beat UK. I'm survived by my wonderful husband, Brian Miles, and his immediate family. I also leave behind my awesome, sweet little family of my son, Michael, and his wife, Laura, and my brilliant grandson, Dashiell, whom I will miss the most. Dashiell was the light of my life. The time I spent with him was precious. I always said that the best day of my life was the day Dashiell was born. My dear father, Ralph, preceded me in death in 2018. My acerbic mother, Violet, preceded me in death in 1994. I'm also survived by several nieces and nephews, grandnieces and grandnephews and cousins. I have 2 siblings still living, neither of whom deserve mention here. Also surviving is my sweet 20-pound black cat, Coltrane. My first beloved cat, Tori Sue Torkelson, was cremated and will be scattered with me.
Oh.
I graduated from South Knox High in Vincennes, Indiana in 1972 with the best classmates ever. We had a blast in the late 60s and early 70s. Peace to you all and keep on truckin'. In order to finally have the smoke and hot body I've always wanted, I chose to be cremated and my ashes to be spread at an undisclosed site. I still want to stay on this side of the grass. The idea of being buried just kills me. Pun definitely intended. Please come to say farewell and celebrate my awesome trip through life. 2 drink tickets for everyone coming through the door. The party will be held in Louisville, Kentucky at a later date. Brian and Michael have instructions on how to notify everyone. Be ready to hear all my favorite songs, including my funeral playlist, tell stories, and have a drink or 2 on me.
Oh my gosh.
Memorial gifts may be made to the Kentucky Humane Society, not the United States Humane Society. Peace, love, and happiness to everyone.
Love her.
Love her. She was funny, sassy, a little
Feisty.
scathing. Yeah, I loved it.
I love it. A good time.
Uh-huh. She sounds like a real good time.
Gosh, I'm going to bring the mood down.
We love her. Oh, no. What do you mean?
I want to talk about Nicholas Alaverdian. He died February 29th, 2020. I know there's only 28 days in February, but sometimes there's a leap year and we get 29. It goes on to say that he battled for life, ending on February 29th, 2020. The children and families in the care of the Rhode Island Department of Children, Youth, and Families, for whom he inspired and led through turbulent government transgressions, have lost a warrior that fought on the front lines for 2 decades. He died 2 months after going public with his diagnosis of non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He was in his 32nd year. At the bedside were Mrs. Alaverdian, their 2 children, and extended family. His last words were, "Fear not and run toward the bliss of the sun." At the time of his passing, the room was filled with the sounds of the end credits for the 1997 film Contact by composer Alan Silverstreet, a film and score which held special meaning. He was a devout Roman Catholic. In keeping with his wishes, his earthly remains were cremated with his ashes scattered at sea. Statesmen and stateswomen in the House of Representatives and Senate joined with mayors across Rhode Island in homage to a man whom they acknowledged as one of the most vocal, outspoken, and constructive advocates of reforming Rhode Island's DCYF and the child care system, and a fighter in spirit but a peacemaker in practice for 2 decades. His name, when uttered in memoriam in the House and Senate chambers and city halls throughout the Ocean State, was a fitting tribute, as those were the spaces where he labored as a warrior for those without a voice for 2 decades, commenting on not just issues surrounding the Department of Children, Youth, and Families, but also business, health, public safety, and education. It's a really long one. It goes on and on and on. But I need to read to you a news article that came out about him.
Okay.
Okay, and it says...
I was wondering, I'm like, where's this going?
Boring! The article is from NBC News, but literally every news outlet has reported on this. Quote, man who faked death to evade U.S. sex assault charges found hospitalized with COVID in Scotland, officials say. It goes on to say a Rhode Island man faked his death to evade sexual assault charges before he was found alive, suffering from COVID-19, and arrested in Scotland.
What?
The man, Nicholas Rossi, who also goes by the aliases Nicholas Alaverdian and Nicholas Alaverdian Rossi, is wanted in connection with allegations of a sex assault in Orem, Utah in 2008, an attack in Ohio in 2018. He was arrested using another alias, Arthur Knight, at a hospital in Glasgow and is being watched by police. People may not know where you are, but with social media, the world is small enough that if anyone sees a picture of you, if you're going to be off the grid, you better stay in your house and never leave because someone is going to see you.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So he faked his own death, and news outlets reported his obituary. That obituary I read all over, and, you know, everyone was so sad, but he took off to Scotland. He said, I'm not going to be arrested for this.
What a dick.
What a dick.
We love an obituary with a plot twist.
I know. I thought of you. I'm like, I'm going to do a little Spencer.
Hey, you tricked me. I know. I was like listening. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is really sad. Sounds like a really remarkable person. But tell me why you're reading it.
I know. I know.
That.
He's a really bad person. He has now been charged with 1 count of alleged rape in the attack on a 21-year-old woman in 2018. He is trash.
Lock him up and throw away the key. That's what I say.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not giving him bail, okay? Or we're not giving him bond because hopefully flight risk.
Oh, yeah. No, he's done for.
Oh.
Done for.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
And now,
it's time
for some dumb
Ask
criminals. I feel like you don't even need one after your obituary.
I know.
Okay, mine is short and sweet. This is from Belleville, Ontario. And it was inspired after last week's episode about all the witches.
Okay.
On September 18th, 2021, at approximately 3:20 a.m., officers attended on Church Street for a woman acting out, which it just sounds like it was written so long ago.
I know.
Officers had previously dealt with the same woman several times on Front Street, where she attempted to cast a spell on passerbys walking home from the Empire Square concert. The behavior was not well received and nearly resulted in several fistfights. Officers arrested a 44-year-old Belleville woman for causing a disturbance. She was like standing outside of this concert, I guess, threatening to cast spells on people. And it just made me, I was like, I love it.
I love that. I feel, I just love that. Stick a brick in a mouth.
Somebody bury her upside down, my God.
I know. Oh my God. I love that. I feel like my dumb criminal is kind of short and sweet along kind of with yours. I feel like maybe they're related. So imagine you are at a funeral service and the guy who is being buried has a crazy ex-girlfriend. She is not invited to the funeral service. The current girlfriend is there having a really hard time. You know, it's a tragic day. And then you see a car just hauling ass through the cemetery.
No.
Just fucking driving erratically. Well, Blair Whitten, 28 of Minnesota, went to the funeral. She was not invited and she fucking sped through the cemetery and was trying to run over everybody in
God.
the funeral party. Are you kidding me? There's an article on Oxygen.
Is there
when it's on
pictures?
Oxygen too, it's like,
Oh, it's going to be lit.
Yeah, it's going to be lit. The article says, quote, a Minnesota woman who allegedly plowed through a cemetery during her ex-boyfriend's funeral service has now been accused of a prior act of chaos. So the story doesn't end there. I don't know how the timelines match up, but she decided to go to St. Mary's Cathedral in downtown Fargo and spray paint all over a marble statue of Jesus.
Oh.
Spray painted his whole face.
Oh, my God.
Let me show you her.
Okay, Banksy.
Yeah. Wait, look at this.
Oh,
and she
my
has black
God.
lipstick on.
She looks like trouble.
So she went off-roading at the cemetery and then spray painted Jesus.
Oh, she's going to hell. She needs a brick shoved in her mouth, too.
Trouble.
Oh, my God. Some true dumbasses. Wow, I loved your dumbass this week. And your obituary. And your coffin spinner.
Oh, I just love you.
Good job, girly.
Thanks, girly.
God love you. And we love all of you. We will be back next week. Oh, by the way, the P.O. box is still coming.
Spencer's going to get a P.O. box.
It's coming. I told you I had a hard night. I had to go to the Cheesecake Factory. Listen, a lot's going on over here. You can rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you're listening. You can email us, obitpod@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at obituarypod, Instagram obituarypod. Buy a Cameo, baby.
Oh, yeah, you can buy a Cameo, too, and we'll say whatever you want.
We just gave an obituary to
someone's
balls. We won't say more.
Yeah, we did. But that's it for this week. We'll see you next time with some more coffin spinners,
obituaries,
and dumb
ass criminals.
Goodbye.